All right, welcome to another one for Al Cuerpo Boxing, to the body. So let's get with it. Let's talk some boxing. I mean, it's been a while since I've done a video. And right now, I think it's fair to say that we could talk about cruiserweight. I've been talking about cruiserweight probably more for about a year and a half, man. Been talking about cruiserweight about a year and a half. And now fans are starting to see the picture. All right. And of course, it involves Benavidez, Opetaya. I talked about Badu Jack, Don King, and of course, Zurdo Ramirez. And there's so much context that a lot of fans can't really put together. And a lot of that is to blame because of the Zuffa boxing situation. That doesn't mean I'm against Zuffa boxing. Don't misunderstand it. I want to remind fans that some fights right now, because of politics, geopolitics, it's not easy to make, guys. It's not easy to make. So that's why I say don't talk about it. Or, well, I shouldn't say that. I can't be a hypocrite because fans deserve the right to be optimistic, right? So if the fights that we want to watch or want to see, obviously we got to talk about it, right? Mostly because like the Opetaya versus Benavidez situation, or even before that, Opetaya versus Zurdo Ramirez, or Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez, winner takes on Opetaya, right? So that's been talks for more than a year. And that was talks even before Zuffa Boxing came along. And even before those times, I was saying, look, what either the champions at Cruiserweight got to do, or what David Benavidez got to do, when he got that belt at 175 was, I told everybody the exact same words, to prioritize, get first dibs, prioritize on that WBC belt at Cruiser. And that's why I kept on mentioning over and over, guys, the first guy that fights Badu Jack is going to be in a good position. Or I should say, I guess right now, for the way things are going, would make more confusement, right? Is that even a word, confusement? But let's say, for example, if Benavidez, and I told you guys before what Benavidez should have done, even though it would be funny, right? So Benavidez gets a WBC belt at 175, right? He didn't fight anybody for it, but then he would petition for the, the WBC belt for Badu Jack. That's funny, right? So, hey, man, boxing isn't perfect. I've been saying that too, right? But I kept on saying it, and my guy Carl knows this, Atomico knows this, other guys that know me on these YouTube streets, they know that I was always saying prioritize in getting that WBC belt, okay? And I said yes, and it hurts me to say it, but yeah, Badu Jack was the easiest champion for who knows how long, right? He had those two fights with McKillian. I remember watching that fight. And I can't remember who I picked to win the first matchup. I forgot, man. It's been a while, man. But at this current situation, doesn't even matter, right? It's always about getting that, prioritizing in getting that WBC belt, man. So that's a little bit of context, guys. But let's go backwards right now, because right now I think I'm gonna title this video "The Benavidez Burden" or "The Burden of Benavidez," and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna keep on saying it. That for me, the main culprit for how Benavidez is in the current situation is because I keep saying it was the PBC. It may be a kind of an attack towards the PBC. I have the right. I'm a fan, right? But and I always say boxing isn't perfect. But guys, man, I want you guys to vision this for a second. All right, we've got Zurdo Ramirez and Benavidez, and maybe if you want to include Badu Jack, because Badu Jack was also PBC. All right. So what do all these guys have in common? They were champions at 168 once upon a time. Okay, Zurdo Ramirez, Benavidez, and Badu Jack. And this is very, very important for you guys to focus on, because when you start to see the circumstances of how these champions got the cruiserweight, maybe you might empathize in trusting the scenario that I'm going to explain to you, okay? So I guess let's start in chronological order. Even before Benavidez got some shine at 168, regardless of it being the first champion and the youngest one at 168, right? having a vacant opportunity against Ronald Graville. We'll go back a bit. So let's say 2016, right? 2000. Let's say 2016. At that time, Benavidez, PBC, Badu Jack champion, also at PBC. There wasn't a lot of instigation in making those two fight. All right, let me repeat that. And why is that important, guys? Because Surdo Ramirez, but as a matter of fact, for me, Surdo Ramirez has, and maybe Badu Jack, but let's focus on Surdo Ramirez just because he's had more shine right now as of late with the Benavidez outcome. But Surdo Ramirez, he had beaten Arthur Abraham, all right? So there's like some nice contextual lineage with the WBO and Arthur Abraham, right? Because Arthur Abraham, he has a little bit of history too, going way back when he fought like Andre Ward. He was a guy at 168, right? Once upon a time. And then Arthur Abraham, he dethroned this other German cat, right? Because they're both Germans, right? This other German cat, I think his name is, I was going to say Spielberg. What is Z Krieg or, oh man, Seafried? I forgot his name. What's that German guy's name? He was champion of the WBO years prior. He had like almost 8 defenses, if I'm not mistaken. Z-Krieg? I want to say Blitzkrieg. Man, I forgot the cat's name, man. It ain't easy. It's not as easy as, or it's not as difficult as, what was it, when Oscar De La Hoya fought that other German guy. What's that other German guy? Well, I think it was also WBO. Oh, man, I forgot. I forgot, man. I forgot the name of these Germans, guys. Anyways, Arthur Abraham had dethroned uh, Siegfried. Let's call this guy Siegfried, right? The WBO. He beat him. That was a good win. And I believe Arthur Abraham had a couple of defenses or several defenses. And so here comes Surdo Ramirez, and he dethrones Arthur Abraham. This is like 2016, all right? So that's the lineage between Surdo at 168, okay? He pretty much got a win over the guy that beat the guy from the WBO at 168, okay? And keep in mind, in that time, Badu Jack was also a champion, all right? Benavidez wasn't a champion until 2017 or 2018, I forgot, right? When he beat Ronald Graville in a vacant opportunity, right, for the WBC. And so you got to wonder why the PBC didn't make a lot of noise back then. Back then, the guys were Spence, Keith Thurman, Wilder, right? Those were the commodities for the PBC, and Benavidez was kind of like left out. After that, once Benavidez got the WBC at 168, he I guess the Caleb Plant narrative starts to come to life. All right, and that's a pretty good matchup, right? Why not? The have Plant fight Benavidez, and I believe Plant in that time he had beaten Usyk. Man, it's been a while, man. To be honest, bear with me here. And so also, I think in those years, 2017, the Canelo Triple G rematch was around, right? 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, Canelo, he starts to do his ascension or his run at 168. Now, guys, Canelo Alvarez, when we're comparing Benavidez, Caleb Plant, and Badu Jack, right? In those years, Canelo Alvarez is way bigger than all these names combined, right? This is a guy that was coming from 140, 147 to 168. All right? In that time frame, guys, I think that's where the clout chasing starts to emerge. And this is very important for you guys to understand because if you're a Canelo Alvarez fan, if you're a Benavidez fan, if you just want to see good matchups to begin with, we already experienced that with Canelo and the Triple G saga. We were already there, all right? That Canelo was ducking Triple G, that Canelo lost the first fight, or whatever. So we get that. As the years go by, we learned Benavidez' devotion for Triple G, right? And by the way, I'm just revising history. It's not an attack on any of these guys, man. I'm a fan of all these guys, but it was always a warning, and that's why I always told fans on other channels, "Yo, you're not really a Benavidez fan. You're not. You're just complaining, or you have some spite against other boxers, and you're using Benavidez as like some sort of closure for your, I guess, emotion towards other boxers. That's stupid, in my opinion." But I always told you, given when you look at Benavidez' size, man, yo, that guy had a lot of opportunities going all the way up to cruiser. The guy walks around more than 200 pounds, man. Ever since he's been at 168. Come on, wake up. Two and two together, right? So I don't even want to bring Alvarez into this, but I'll talk about Alvarez later on in the closing segments of this video because again, this video. It's got a lot of justifications why this is the Benavidez, the burden of Benavidez or the Benavidez burden. I don't know how you want to flip that out. And the way we're gonna land this plane on this video is we gotta see what's best for Benavidez in the long run. Because if you guys know me, I'm still down for that. Turkey wants Benavidez versus Usyk. That's what you got to do, man. That's the best opportunity as far as the pay grade, the opportunities. Like Usyk, yo, he's the name. Or even Usyk's last performance against Rico Van Herven. Yo, that's the opportunity you want to do right now, man. Don't let the fans hype up Opataya. That's not a knock on Opataya, by the way. That don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying all these guys got good options, man. Even Opataya. I would like Opataya at heavyweight. I told my boy Carl, yo, he's got good options. Should he go to heavyweight as well? And if I'm not mistaken, he already had a fight right at heavyweight with this Brandon Glanton cat, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm even getting that right. Whatever, man. The point is these guys can fight at heavyweight, man. And I keep telling you, if Roy could do it, if Tony could do it, if Hollywood went for me, come on, guys. These guys are all smaller, by the way, than Usyk. Come on. Don't get soft here, man. Don't get soft. Don't get scared. So if you're a Benavidez fan, you should be open to a lot of matchups. In my opinion, Benavidez don't got to see Opataya. And I notice right now, like what's his name? Kellerman. I was going to say Letterman. Kellerman and a lot of channels and a lot of industry cats are now saying, you see, what Benavidez was doing to Canelo Alvarez is now hitting back to him, like karma, in effect. I wouldn't say so much that. The reason why it's not that is because we've seen multi-weight champions and other greats, other big names, they've gone through that. It's nothing new. That's why I don't hype too much about that. All right? And then, okay, so now we got all this politics because Zupa Boxing and the WBC, like, it's obvious they're not getting along, man. And it's bad for boxing. And so then we amplify all these reasons why we can't get the fights, and then fans are now confused or blah, blah, blah. So let me go back a bit. Because we were talking about the triad in between Badu Jack, Benavidez, and Suda Ramirez, right? They were all former 168 champs once upon a time. And they all had good fights at 175 once upon a time, right? As a matter of fact, let me ask you guys, what's the difference between Zurdo and Benavidez going up to cruiser? They both became 168 champions. Zurdo Ramirez, in my opinion, has a better legacy at 168 than Benavidez just by the names that he fought, okay? Or I should say the way he became a champion, because Zurdo Ramirez, he didn't fight for no vacancy at 168, but Benavidez did. And who was Ronald Graville at that time? That's not a knock on that. We're just comparing the value. The key word is the value. And I'll go in on PBC later on. All right? So then here comes 175, right? We get Dmitry Bivol, all right? Dmitry Bivol went 24 rounds with Artur Beterbiev, had some good fights at 175, right? Really good fight. He's proven at 175, undisputed champion once, right? Didn't have it the first time with Artur Beterbiev, but that's the name, Bivol. Guess who fought Bivol at 175? Aside from Canelo, from all you fans always thinking about Canelo. Aside from Canelo, Zurdo Ramirez had a fight with Bivol at 175. We saw that fight. It happened. Zurdo lost. Zurdo went up to cruiserweight. And I even said, it'd be a good matchup. Bivol fighting Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. Some fans said, you know what? Easy work for Bivol again. That's great. Yo, if you really believe that, if you're really a Dmitry Bivol fan, then you should have said long ago, yo, let's go to cruiserweight. Let's go get those straps from Zurdo Ramirez. If you're really a fan about guys going up in weight and seeing greats do it, it's nothing new, guys. Relax. So, Zurdo Ramirez fought Bivol, lost at 175. And then a new narrative comes, right? Benavidez goes to 175. He gets the WBC strap from Bivol. And guess what? He didn't fight Dmitry Bivol yet, right? That's the difference between Zurdo and Benavidez at 175 in the triad with Dmitry Bivol. So whose credit do you give more? Right? Because we're still going to cruiser right now. We're still going to go to cruiser. Don't worry. So Zurdo Ramirez and Dimitri Bivol and David Benavidez. All right, Benavidez didn't endure the damage that Sturlo did at 175 with Bivol. If we want to give Bivol that much credit with power, right? But he didn't have those fights, right? Or let's stop a bit. And again, guys, this is not a knock because I think for me, I'm probably one of the very few that are the most objective about Benavidez' future on what's best for him. I'm a real Benavidez fan. I'm an Alvarez fan. Hell's yeah, VMC all day. But yeah, VMC, right? That's the brand. Also a fan of Zurdo Ramirez. Context matters, guys. Context. What guys did before. All right. I even supported Badu Jack too because he's still coming from 168, guys. All right. Regardless of the outcome of those McKillian fights. All right. And let me go quick on a quick segue here that the reason why Opatai is in the situation that he is now, you know, the guy to blame, and I always say this, it was Eddie Hearn. That's not a knock on Eddie. Maybe Eddie was too busy with all these other stars. He didn't want to focus on the Samoan cat that Obitaya is. You could have easily made offers to Badu Jack a long time ago. Matchroom's got the money. Matchroom's got the backing from the zone. Matchroom's got the backing from Turkey, right? All these years that Opatai was with them, did we make a serious offer to Badu Jack for that WBC priority? Excuse me. No, we didn't, right? So that's why context matters, guys. Circumstances, man. That's how you got to play the business moves. You got to put yourself in a position where other promoters or other fighters got to come to you. And that's what Benavidez is doing now, or at least he's got help, right, from the PBC and the affiliations, connections with the WBC. You can't knock on him. That's not Benavidez' fault. This is the politics. They help Benavidez in a way, but that's not a knock on Benavidez. It's not a knock on Opataya. It's not a knock on other guys. Really, it's the promoters doing the business with the networks. You know, they're the ones that really control the game. And you know who really said that very, very openly and realistically? That was, may he rest in peace, Victor Conte. Victor Conte was one of the very few that always said that it was the networks that really control the fights. And that could be an analogy or metaphor to modern day boxing because we don't have HBO or Showtime anymore, right? We've evolved into a more streaming protocol, right, for boxing or for a lot of sports. So just connect those and combine them, or at least compare them. All right. So now here we are at cruiserweight, guys. Now we're at cruiserweight, and we've got Zurdo Ramirez who just lost. And by the way, you know, thanks to the PBC, they put the full fight on YouTube. I got to watch it again. And what bothered me the most, because I was hyping this fight for more than a year. I said, this is going to be a great Mexican showdown. We're going to see a divide between Mexican American fans and Mexican fans. Who is really going to support who and who's going to be the Mexican monster on top? And obviously that was David Benavidez. David did his part. I like David because what David did in his part, he came to fight, guys. Benavidez didn't come to box. He came to fight. Even in the first round. When the first round in the closing bell, right, the 10-second bell, what does Benavidez do? He unleashes a flurry of combinations because he knows, damn, you know what? I better not risk it. I'm going to win this. I'm going to edge this last 10 seconds so I can ensure I'm going to get the round. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. That's what Benavidez did. So I got to appreciate Benavidez' efforts in doing that. Very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. And why do I take that? Because that's what Canelo was supposed to do with Terrence Crawford, man. You can't start off the early round slow. Even though I like that fight a lot. I really do like that fight. That's a classic throwback fight for any practitioner or boxers in the future. Like, if you want to know real chess moves and countering abilities between legit fighters and great boxers, power punchers, you got to watch Canelo versus Crawford. That's a great fight. It's a legendary fight. I love it. Would I like to see the rematch? Of course. But at this point, where everything is going to boxing, whatever, man. Just, you know, right now I'm like focused on Mexico versus the world, Canelo versus Mbili. I want to see Canelo in a fight the way he did with John Ryder, even though it's a dangerous fight for Canelo Alvarez, believe it or not, because to me, Mbili is more fresh than John Ryder, guys. All right. Yeah, John Ryder's a southpaw, but Mbili's a big ass dude, man. So Canelo got to be careful in this fight. He's got to be careful, not so much of getting knocked out or knocked down, but taking that type of firepower. If you're a Canelo Alvarez fan and you want to see fights in the future, he's got to be smart in this fight against Mbidi because Mbidi's going to come to fight just like the way John Ryder did. And I like those kind of fights. I love those kind of fights because we're watching proven champions. We're watching proven greats putting it on the line in of the more hurt game. Because some would say, yo, the way Canelo fought John Ryder, that's stupid. You could have just fought from the outside and box. You don't got to take that type of damage, but that's the sacrifice he's willing to do. That's a sacrifice that Benavidez was doing with Zurdo Ramirez. I thought Zurdo Ramirez was going to let his hands go. I wanted a better fight because I look stupid promoting the fight and saying it's going to be a pelea, it's going to be a good fight for Mexican fans, right? And I was always contextualizing Morales versus Barrera, right? We got those series between those two Mexicans, even though it was more nationals, right? Mexico versus Mexico. But when it came to Benavidez and Zurdo, sorry to say this, and I don't mean to offend, the real Mexican nationals, but a Mexican American came out that night. Another Mexican American. What's another comparison? The last time this happened at this magnitude was Oscar De La Hoya versus Chavez. Whatever the reason was, because of the cuts or the gash on the eye, right? The Chavez, or even in the second match. At the end of the day, guys, a Mexican American beat a Mexican national. A Mexican American boxing beat Boxeo Mexicano in those instances. Chavez, De La Hoya, Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. And I think right now that kind of affected a lot of fans, and a lot of fans are confused. I see channels and other guys saying, oh, well, Benavidez is not really a Mexican national. Chavez was rooting for Zurdo Ramirez in this fight. I believe he was in a way. It's like, don't count on Zurdo Ramirez. But again, guys, you got to put a lot of things, you got to put everything on the line. When it's a big fight, you have to fight, man. You have to fight. Who proved it the last time when there was a lot of doubt? A lot of doubt. For me, another throwback classic, Canelo versus Golovkin 2. What did Canelo Alvarez endured a lot of criticism in the Triple G1 fight, right? A lot of guys said he lost. Fans were in uproar. Industry was in uproar because of the draw, the way Canelo fought. I thought Canelo did a pretty good game against Golovkin in the first fight, right? I mean, we're seeing a Mexican power puncher doing some pretty slick defense and evasion, right? The same way we criticize Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney. That's what Canelo did with Golovkin. A little different, but that's what we got. And so then here comes Canelo in the rematch, guys. Boom. A different Canelo Alvarez. Badass. What's not to like about that, man? That's history in the making. I love it. Just like in the how would you say? Just like in the, how do you say, revisions, right? Just like in the revisions against Leonard and Duran, right? The revisions, the adjustments. That's the word. The adjustments that Leonard did with Duran in the rematch. Sometimes you got to put more on the line, man. You got to put things more at stake. All right. So, anyways, I don't know how I went to Canelo Alvarez. I mean, like I always say, Raza wins, man. I always say Raza wins. So now we got David Benavidez. Let's continue on that right now, the burden of this. And I'm going to keep on saying this. I always say this, man. Benavidez is a victim of the PBC circumstance. Let me say it again. Benavidez is a victim of the PBC circumstance. PBC could have done a lot more for Benavidez in the early days. And fans know that. I mean, I always make fun of the budget, how they allocated the star power between Thurman, Spence, and Wilder and other names, right? They could have been smarter with that. Or the Charlo brothers and Danny Garcia. In my opinion, I'm going to say this again. If you guys truly believe how great David Benavidez is now, or what he's been doing the last 3 or 4 years, then obviously you have to think about what they saw in Benavidez back in the day, back in 2016, 2017. Why didn't PBC do more for Benavidez back then? Because I'm going to tell you this, guys. The eye test, the youth, right? Moses the Tama right now, the youth. I like Moses the Tama, badass southpaw heavyweight. The youth, 21, 22 years old. That's how, and I'm saying, Frank Warren's got to do a bit more, but he's doing good right now, right? Now he's going to play, I think he's going to fight Hergovich. This is a good path for him. That's what PBC should have been doing with Benavidez long ago, guys. Fans forget that Artur Beterbiev was PBC long time ago. long time ago. They couldn't sell him, or they had no interest in selling him, so they dropped him. Benavidez went elsewhere, right? 175 eventually. And this is why I always say this, guys. I always say this. And I'm curious why in the time during COVID, right? 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna marry in Zurdo Ramirez with this because Zurdo Ramirez and Benavidez, they both fought Romer Angulo, guys. They both fought him at 168. What's the difference though? I keep saying this. Romer Angulo and Zurdo Ramirez, they fought at a 168 limit. Benavidez fought Romer Angulo at a revised contract, right? Benavidez came in at 172. The title was only on the line for Romer Angulo. Was that a fair fight? When you think about it, probably not. And I always reference like Johnny Beck or other fighters, they're getting hospitalized. Had Benavidez made 168 for Romer Angulo, could have been hospitalized. Could have been a tragic result. May have been stopped by Romer Angulo, or could have not gone the full two. Could have looked sluggish, right? So we're taking the opportunity away from Romer Angulo. But what does that mean, guys? What does that mean? That means that David would have been better at 175. Guys, he would have been better at 175. He's proven it right now at cruiserweight. So it's not theory. Don't be afraid, guys, going up in weight. That's what I'm trying to say. The PBC did the wrong business moves for David Benavidez, and now Benavidez is suffering the karma from what industry and fans instigated. I don't think Benavidez ever wanted that, but the PBC were trying to sell. The PBC were trying to exploit star power. The PBC were trying to survive their business. Showtime was going too. HBO had gone. They were trying to find ways to survive their business, and so they exploited Canelo Alvarez's name. And they first did that with the Caleb Plant, Canelo Alvarez undisputed themes. So of course Benavidez, when he sees that, like, damn, you know what? PBC, they hooked up Canelo Alvarez with undisputed 168. That should have been me long ago. That's David's point of view. You know why, guys? You know why? Because David is that good. David knows he would have beat everybody at 168. But you got to have a voice, man. And so David Benavidez, and that's always make fun of the PBC playbook, David really couldn't have a word, a strong word. All right? The last time a badass Mexican-American really took advantage of the star power and light was Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Right? Unsung hero. Very underrated unsung hero that Andy Ruiz was. And then guess what, guys? Andy Ruiz falls off on the PBC world. Like, what happened? He should have always been like top 5 after that win from Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua had better fights afterwards with Usyk and all that. You know? Andy Ruiz could have made more of a voice. Like, you know what? Okay, I knocked his ass out in the first fight. He beat me in the rematch. Yo, we need a trilogy. What's up, man? Hype. You need to hype that, guys. PBC never helped it. I don't know why. I mean, whatever. Again, politics, Eddie Hearn, the zone. We get it, man. We get it. Who's to blame, guys? Not the fighters. It's the guys that are managing them. Eddie Hearn, his point of view is like, that's not my problem. I'm good. Matchroom is good. We're with the zone. I'm good. At the same time, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, they're looking at the opportunities with the Saudis getting involved years later. That's why I always say the Brits were the clever ones in the game. In the last 5 years, the Brits were the clever ones, man. All right? So, guys, 175, right? Zurdo Ramirez couldn't do with Bivol. We never got the fight with Benavidez. And I know, guys, they follow my perspectives in the game. I know it, man. Or it's a coincidence. Somehow, like, I be getting things right. I be getting things right, the business moves. What's best for the boxers? I'm going to make a recommendation or advice to all of you boxing fans. Empathize for the boxer. Empathize for the boxers that are really, really good. And support them. If they're really, really good, support them going up. Sometimes drowning out filler fights in a current, division, don't let it prolong too much, man, because it's bad for the boxer. And we're not really seeing the best fight the best. For example, right now, I don't even like this Usyk Foster versus Shakur Stevenson. No, man, no. Or help me out here. Am I being a hypocrite? First of all, I'm going to be consistent because Usyk Foster is not that great compared to all the guys that we just mentioned that I think he deserves a shot at Shakur Stevenson. So really the focus right now is Shakur Stevenson. Yo, he's regressing. He's going backwards to fight a 130 fighter. Meanwhile, you got Conor Benn at 147 or Devin Haney. Like, those are your contemporaries. Stay at 147. Now that you beat Teofimo Lopez, why do you want to go back downward? Or what's worse, watching Shaki Foster right now in the Ford fight, it's not bad. Okay, yeah, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in no chess matching fight when you now bring in Shakur Stevenson. No, I don't want that. I don't want to see that. I like Shakur Stevenson because I give him a lot of prop with the Cameron, the William Cepeda fight. That was a great fight, guys. That was a great. Both of those guys showed up in that fight. Great fight. If anything, that fight deserves a rematch. And a lot of fans are haters, or you guys don't really appreciate, or you don't want to acknowledge. A lot of you guys are in denial. In my opinion, Cepeda nicked 4 rounds in that fight, guys. 4 rounds against Shakur Stevenson. That's not supposed to happen. 4, right? So what does that mean? Run it back, a rematch. If it was like 2 rounds, I would say, nah, okay, Shakur don't got to see that back. It wasn't a Shakur versus Lopez fight. That's a different topic, a different debate. But Shakur Stevenson, he's got to fight guys 140 plus, man. If you're that good, if you claim you're that good, go upward. And I'm surprised Andre Ward hasn't said anything about that, or Timothy Brady. Yo, you got to fight guys 147. Prove your greatness, man. Prove your greatness. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that jab that he got from Cameron Cepeda on the ropes and he got knocked down a bit. Maybe he don't want to see guys at 147. Other awkward southpaws. Oh, excuse me, man. I had a badass egg cheddar sandwich. Delicious, man. Delicious. Anyways, let's keep going here. So we got to land the plane here, man. We got to land what's best for David Benavidez, man. All right. And again, guys, when I say what's best for David, that's not a knock on all the other fighters, man. Don't. How would I say this? I don't know why I give Benavidez so much of a pass. I think I know why, because for the past 3 years that I've been on streams and I've been on debates with everybody, if you guys know me, I've always blamed the PBC and scripts. You can't go in the Benavidez family, like from Jose Benavidez Sr. and David. For years, they were always talking good about Canelo, and then all of a sudden, coincidentally, when the PBC is hemorrhaging money to make better fights, Showtime is leaving the game, then all of a sudden the Benavidez family go hard on Canelo Alvarez. It's not a coincidence, guys. I think in a lot of cases, I think the fighters are being brainwashed. Maybe they're saying, yo, this fighter's management said this about you, and they're creating drama that doesn't really exist in between fighters. Because Alvarez, the only thing that Alvarez ever said about the Benavidez family was the themes about not fighting Mexicans and blah, blah, blah. And that even predates the Benavidez teams. That goes back from Munguia and before. Yeah, he eventually fought Munguia, right? But that doesn't mean, those statements alone doesn't mean why we need to see Benavidez versus Canelo. For me, guys, the whole point of this debate is weight classes, man. Weight classes. Canelo was criticized for years, and I don't know how the hell he was criticized, because Canelo was never fighting guys in a contrasting ratio the way Benavidez is fighting guys at 168. Name me some fights, guys. If you say to me, nah, man, Canelo was way bigger than Trout, or Canelo was way bigger than Lara, okay, so compare Benavidez versus Andrade, or Benavidez versus Durrell or Plant. As far as like physique and rehydration on fight night, there's no contrast, or there's no comparison. Obviously, 168 is kind of it's a mysterious weight class. And yeah, you guys can balloon up a lot, right? And that particular weight class in men. At 168 with men, you're either going to get small guys or overly sized guys, So the reason why I'm always optimistic on better opportunities for the fighters. I always said the right business move would be for David to petition to get the Badu Jack fight. I always said that. If it was already worse at 175, you can't get better Beaver Bivol, and they gave you the strap. Okay, let that be like a lottery ticket that you can exploit in the system to go fight someone at cruiser. Why would fans care? Oh, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Fighting Badu Jack at cruiserweight is better than optimistic matches between Bivol and Beterbiev at 175. The first man to go to 175 and win some straps, as David already proves that David doesn't need guys at Bivol or Beterbiev at 175. It's proven. I've been saying that. That's why I always say Bivol and Beterbiev, they got to see David at cruiserweight now, not the other way around. A lot of you guys are being suckered into saying that Benavidez is ducking guys at 175. Nah, the guy's not ducking anybody at 175. The guy is big, man. He can hang with guys at cruiserweight. No problem, as I always say, no problem. But David's bigger than Bivol. David's bigger than Beterbiev, you know? I would have liked to have seen Benavidez versus Badu Jack. That would have been a good fight. Probably would have stopped Badu Jack too. But then we would have got unification between the WBC and Surdo Ramirez, right? And then who knows? Maybe if that fight had happened years back, we could theorize that maybe Opataya would have waited. Maybe he may have not had any interest towards Zufa boxing had David and Surdo fought years prior. All right? Give it benefit of doubt, guys. Give it benefit of doubt. So when I say, yo, right now, we can't get Opataya and Benavidez is because of the politics, guys. I know other streams or other channels that I was on, I was saying, yo, this fight doesn't make any sense right now politically. And guys like, nah, Cuerpo, you're lying. Don't make that up. Like, you're getting your emotions into you. That's because I think there's more spite towards Benavidez. Benavidez has good options. There's no reason to be angry right now or complain. Really, what are you complaining about? I don't get it. So right now, let's summarize this right now. Let's summarize it. I don't even know how long this video has been going, man. Damn, almost 36 minutes. So right now, the bad thing with Benavidez, the real bad thing, and you fans are to blame. A lot of you fans that like to instigate gossip and always crying about shit, yo, you guys are to blame because right now, the guy that's having the last laugh, because he's been through it all too. He was there before. He's seen the criticism. It's Canelo Alvarez. And for me, I said it before. I said it once upon a time, like a year ago. I always said that one day you're going to see David and Canelo, they're going to be cool with each other. Because Canelo could say to him and to the public, yo, I told you so. He could say, yo, David, yo, that's on you if you wanted to use my name because the PBC told you to make those scripts to make our fight. That's on you. Canelo's got nothing to prove for that. Guys, Canelo and Benavidez, it's not so much that one was ducking the other, it's that look at all the circumstances, look at all the business moves, right? One guy didn't see the other. It gets boring, man, 168. By the way, would I like to see that fight now? After watching that Surdo Ramirez fight, hells yeah. Yo, I bet you, I'm more than sure it probably got to be at 168 or at a catch weight to 175. I don't know how the hell that fight would go. But I'll say this. Canelo Alvarez's style will do a lot better than Andrade or Surdo Ramirez. All right? Given where David is going right now with his weight, man, because David's got big-ass legs, man. That dude's got a lot of weight. You ever seen David in his social media, pics? Even though he looks like thin on the upper frame or when he's wearing pants and jersey, yo, he's got like big thighs, man. He's got big thighs that is probably residual from his previous years. So, and that's David thin right now. So imagine David in his youth. I mean, he was a big dude. I guess it's genetics, if anything. But this is good, guys. This is good. That means David right now, he's proven that he is a good fighter at 168. All right. I mean, he beat the champ. He didn't beat the champ. He fought for a vacant title against Graville. He's proven it. He's knocked out guys at 168. He looks great. He's got Mike Tyson backing him up with the Mexican Monster. He's got Mexican nationals now on that. And I think a lot of Mexican nationals are in denial right now for the way how he beat Surdo Ramirez. I'm in denial as a Mexican American, but I'm actually happy. And I'll say this right now. If Oscar wanted to do more for Surdo Ramirez, I say, yo, Surdo, right now with Surdo Ramirez, what you got to do, take my advice. See if you can get out of Golden Boy. Because I don't think, to me, when I'm watching Oscar at the fight between Surdo and Benavidez, it seems like Oscar was more in favor of Benavidez. If that's the case, And even in the aftermath, if that's the case, I would advise Surdo's camp, and I hope it's possible. Get out of Golden Boy. Get out of Golden Boy. And right now, go to Zuffa Boxing. Why? Why? Now we can get Surdo versus Opataya. That's a good fight. Who knows? Maybe Surdo can give Opataya a good fight. But let's assume Opataya stops Surdo Ramirez more nastier than the way Benavidez did, then that brings more circulation. Maybe Zuffa, Netflix, maybe they can do something. Maybe the PBC might like this. Well, I mean, it's so hard, guys. Yeah, even though the business side is good, what I mean by that is good payday for the fighters. I'm not sure if the WBC will acknowledge the current situation if we were to get Opataya to being Surdo. No, it doesn't, geopolitically, business wise, it makes sense. But again, it's a hurdle, man. It's not an easy fight to make. So that's what I'm saying. And I'm talking about Opataya versus Benavidez. That's what I'm saying. At the very least, give us Opataya and Surdo Ramirez. Surdo, if you got nothing going for you, if your future looks grim at Golden Boy right now, and let's say they're insinuating that they don't want to renew your contract, go to Zuffa Boxing, man. Surdo, you still got fans. I'm still a Surdo fan. He did good with Dorticos, right? In the Chris Phillips Smith fight, in the fight with Joe Smith Jr., even the fight with Bivol, whatever. He was able to go those 12 rounds. I think he had a really bad game plan against Benavidez. You should just let your hands go, even if, assuming it would have even ended early, but let your hands go, man. Don't box, man. You know, if I could do it again, what I would have told, what I would have told Surdo, opposed to what Surdo's, what's his name? What's the coach? I always forget the coach's name with Malik Scott and the other guy, Chuang. I apologize, but they wanted them to box Benavidez from the outside. No. I would have said, look, I would have did this from the get go. Seeing what Zurdo was doing in that fight, success, I would have kept on saying in the corner, I would have said, oye, Zurdo, sígale así. Cierra la distancia. Cuando tú vienes con la derecha, con el gancho y la izquierda, because we saw Zurdo doing that. He would close the distance. He would bang with a hook to the right, bang to the left, right, and then he would go with an uppercut down the middle. That's a nice little sequence when you're closing the distance, when you're making it an inside fight. That's what Zurdo was having success with. Unfortunately, in the later rounds, right? 4 and 5 and up, you got to do that from the get-go, from the early rounds. Again, it's a fight. It's una pelea, as we say. The paisas, quiero ver una pelea. It's a fight. Why are you going to box Benavidez? But that's a good thing with Benavidez, though, because Benavidez can show everything. He can show boxing from the outside. Final warning bell with 10 seconds. He's going to close the show with some combination and closes the round to him. That's smart fighting. That's not smart boxing. That's smart fighting. So you can't hate on Benavidez for doing his part. You know? So anyways, with that thing being said, I would love to see a rematch. Fans don't want to see it. I mean, the industry would never hype that, obviously. And there's been a lot of rematches that we shouldn't see, right? I mean, there's a lot to name. But anyways, right now, Zurdo versus Opataya, go to Zuffa Boxing. That's good for Opataya. That's good for Zurdo too. Zurdo would be a major underdog against Opataya. But who knows? Maybe he can do an upset and go in the full 12 with Opataya, even though Opataya would win. I would still favor Opataya to win. But imagine the shocker. Imagine the mad upset if Zurdo were to beat Opataya. We saw Verhoeven just beat Usyk. Anything can happen in boxing. Never underestimate the power of adjustments or what you learn in a fight. Never underestimate it. And what would that mean, though? So there might be a rematch clause. Or who knows, Opataya might say, you know what, forget this. I lost to Surdo at cruiserweight. Nah, I got to do more now. Now I got to go to heavyweight. I got to go fight maybe Gassiev or go fight like a Dillian White. Somebody. I'm going to go prove myself at heavyweight, right? And therefore that leaves Zurdo and Benavidez for another fight at cruiserweight. Who knows? Maybe a real undisputed fight at cruiserweight, right? Guys, Benavidez got a while in the game. He said it himself. I got another 10 or 9 years in the game. Yo, so it's fine. Don't worry about that. You guys don't want Benavidez to go to heavyweight. I think he'll do fine at heavyweight. I want him to take the Usyk fight, right? Yo, 9 years is a long time, man. You want him to just stay at cruiserweight or go back down to heavyweight? You guys are not Benavidez fans, man. You guys are not Benavidez. And I keep saying, I've been saying it for who knows how long. Shout out to Rasa, man. That's how we do it, man. That's how we do it. I think this has been long overdue, but Benavidez got good options, guys. Opetaya's got good options. Let's slow it down. We don't need no slandering of the other ones. But right now, make no mistake. Make no mistake. And that's not Benavidez' fault. Maybe you could say it's Benavidez' fault. I will say it's Benavidez' fault for the fact that he, even though he's probably nice right now in his life, right? He's going to thank the PBC, obviously. But for me personally, I think the PBC did Benavidez a disservice. Just like even the Errol Spence, in my opinion, they did him a disservice. Yeah, we got Wilder and Fury, but shout out to DeBella. I think maybe if we go back in history, you roll the dice differently, maybe Wilder versus AJ would have been way better for Wilder's future. Who knows? Maybe Wilder would have knocked out AJ before Andy Ruiz. And of course, the whole narrative law, forget the zone. Nobody wants the zone. PBC guys say, I ain't going to fight on dead zone. I don't think there hasn't been a promotional crew of fighters that were dissing a platform that was already geared towards the future. PBC fighters, I ain't fighting on no streaming platform. I ain't fighting on no app. I'm not fighting on that was all PBC. So that's why I say they're the ones to blame. Look at those footsteps. Don't hate me for trying to be objective and maybe giving that scenario. I think most of you would agree with me. I think PBC did a lot of things wrong in boxing. It's no coincidence why Timothy Bradley and Andre Ward and others were always flaming PBC. Maybe it's not so much in these similar aspects, but they were flaming him for similar reasons. Okay. Who's one winner in all of this? Even though I don't agree with, I like to make fun of it. Maybe just because I like to make fun of Snack, that I wish all the fighters were on Snack. But you really can't hate on Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford did his part. Real humble guy, quiet, but a little bit gangster himself. What's not to like about Terrence Crawford, right? But again, Terrence Crawford about the sides of the street, pointing fingers at PBC. Do you guys see now that, in my opinion, there were a lot of things that PBC did wrong? There were a lot of things that did right. Don't get me wrong. They did a lot of good things. Okay? Trying to help fighters, but help fighters in their own way. Maybe not the right way, but in their own way. I think there should have been like a PBC non-alcoholic program that would have helped a lot of fighters that would limit them. If I had all this money, PBC got so much money, Floyd's got the backing, I would have said on the main 5 stars, the main 5 commodities, the PBC, I would have said, you know what? Let me pull them to the side. I'm going to do me a favor. I'm going to give you 25K or at most 50K. Here's 50K, man, monthly, extra for you. Just please stay away from the booze. Stay away from these other characters. Please, for me. I said I would have done, right? If you have an insecurity and you want to prolong or you want to hype up a business entity that's supposed to survive for the future, and you see money, how would you say, not splurging, hemorrhaging. If you see your money hemorrhaging down the line, you're not really disclosing it to the public, even though a lot of fans did catch on about that, then it's good to be insecure. Protect your star fighters. Protect the youth. What PBC should have done with Benavidez is what Frank Warren is doing right now with Moses Atauma. 22-year-olds. I think he's going the right path. He needs to beat Hrgovic. All right? After Benavidez versus Badu Jack should have happened a long time ago, guys. A long time ago. When Benavidez lost the belt against Romer Angulo, he was automatically ranked, and that's the word collusion. Other guys are using the word collusion. That makes sense. He was automatically ranked right behind Beterbiev at 175 when he lost the belt and couldn't make the weight at 168 anymore. That's a lottery ticket. If I'm Benavidez, I'll be like, damn, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity. I want to get that strap from Beterbiev. They didn't do it. In my opinion, I think PBC had a lot to do with that. I'm not going to say Benavidez ducked. We got to give Benavidez benefit of doubt. that he would go into a dogfight with Beterbiev and at least go 12, win or lose, whatever. Give him some benefit of doubt. But who's to blame again, guys? Who's to blame? The same guys that released Artur Beterbiev years ago. Who's to blame? The PBC and maybe WBC with the collusion. They let Benavidez go back down to 168, right? For more title opportunities. Suleiman sees the business side of it. It's like, okay, it's not my problem. I'm gonna let PBC exploit Canelo Alvarez's name for Benavidez' power. Not that Suleiman has favoritism to the fighters. Fans, now you're seeing, I'm telling you, this is the karma. For many years, fans are saying, man, the WC favors Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, what's happening now? What is happening right now? The WBC is favoring David Benavidez. You see how it's ongoing. That's why don't get into that stuff. Give the fighters benefit of doubt. Forget about this ducking theory and all this kind of stuff. Yo, Benavidez, Canelo, they don't duck nobody, man. You go 36 round with Triple G, you ain't ducking nobody. Or at least put the same pressure on the other guys that are bigger. Guys that are already walking past 200 pounds. David Benavidez should already been at 175 in 2018. Should already been there. As a matter of fact, Canelo Alvarez fought twice at 175. Dmitry Bivol, before he became undisputed champion. That's a reto, man. That's a challenge. He fought Kovalev. Fans were hyping up Anthony Yard. There was fans, yeah, man, Anthony Yard's going to knock out Benavidez. This is going to be a good fight. Guys, Anthony Yard was knocked out by Kovalev with a jab. You guys forget that. But then we want to hype up Benavidez knocking out Yard and at the same time still using Canelo's name. Guys, man, it's nauseating. David, man, don't let fans stir that up. Look where we are now, man. That's the burden, bro. That's the karma that you've gotten now. And I can imagine it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Now, a lot of fans now they could use Canelo as a laughingstock towards your brand. Do you want to be that guy now at cruiserweight who can fight at heavyweight? Turkey said it. Roy Jones, they're saying, yo, go fight Usyk. Now's the time. You want to be that big dude, but you're still married to Canelo Alvarez's name. Don't let the fans do that to you, man. Make a statement, David. How would you say? David, how do you say this? Exonerate yourself, David. Exonerate yourselves that the whole Canelo drama thing was something that the fans made up and that possibly the PBC had scripted for you. I know you can't say that. You ain't going to say that. These are the guys that made you wealthy. But yo, I always say, man, boxing is a dangerous sport, man, right? It's a dangerous sport. You do what's best for you, not the 10% that you got to give to the other guys. I've been saying for the longest, I was on streams, yo, David, go to Riyadh. Go get that Arab money. Don't let the PBC control you. Like, that's where we are now again, guys. Collusion fest. What's all this shit, man? I'm like karate chopping here, the whole freaking video. That's where we are, guys. And I hope you guys are absorbing all this info and the context. The fans win, guys. Let's support the fighters. Let's support Opataya. Let's support Benavidez. Support Alvarez. Support Crawford to come back. Usyk, yo. Right now, what David Benavidez got to do, David, what you got to exonerate yourself. Excuse me. Go take the Usyk fight now, man, before that dies out. Before it dies out. If Usyk's management wanted Canelo Alvarez at 190-pound catch weight, yo, take advantage of Turkey wanting that. Maybe because of your star power, stipulate something. Stipulate something in a negotiation. Take your chances, right? Some guys even say Benavidez has no chance against a heavyweight or Usyk at that frame, right? They're literally saying that. So if that's the case, if fans want to instigate that Usyk is too big for Benavidez, yo, David, then exploit that. Put a stipulation on Usyk. Let's see if Usyk is down for that. Check it out. Don't get confused, guys. If Usyk put a stipulation, if their management said, yo, we'll fight Canelo at 190, then Usyk should have no problem giving something to Benavidez too, or acknowledging a stipulation that Benavidez wants. It's not that complicated, guys, man. Anyways, that's what I got on this one, man. The Benavidez effect, the Benavidez burden, as I want to call it. What's best for David? You guys know we've been keeping it 100 for the longest. Ain't nobody more a true Benavidez fan than me. In other words, and other guys too. Shout out to Boxeo Atomico. Shout out to my boy Carl. Shout out to anybody that's been about it, right? Don't make a divide, man. Raza wins. I always say Raza wins regardless. Shout out to Benavidez. Shout out to Alvarez. Shout out to Pataya. Shout out to Turkey. Yo, Zuf and WC. Come on, man. Make ends meet, man. Come on. You guys got to come in the middle. Make it happen, man. Let the fans win. For another one, for Al Cuerpo Boxing to the body. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Peace.